Hello everyone, welcome. Hi, all great to see you coming into the room. We'll get started in a second. Lovely to see you all. So welcome to this session. It is the OUSTEM Freshers Employability Skills in STEM. Really great to have you online this evening. I can hear some of you are still coming in, and that is fine, but we will get started. So welcome. If you would find subtitles helpful for this event, you can switch those on by heading to live captioning in Teams, and instructions of how to do this will be added to the chat box in a second. And this session will be recorded, so it's great to see so many of you here live this evening, but we do have some that are unable to, so we're recording it, and you may want to come back to it and refresh, so please feel free to do that. If you do have any questions throughout, please do get in touch. We've got the Q&A function at the top of your screen, and we are hoping to have lots of questions by you. We've got a full panel, as you can see on our screen, waiting for those questions. So please do feel free to use that function. So just to introduce myself, I am Georgina Hawkins. I am the Employee Engagement Manager here at the Open University, and I'm linked to the STEM faculty. So my job role is I'm part of the Careers and Employability Services, and I engage with employers from the STEM industry to connect you to opportunities. So whether that be graduate level, placements, internships, work experience, or even more experience and entry level. These are available for you to look at jobs on our Opportunity Hub site, and hopefully a link will be added to the chat box. And this is where we put all events that we work with employers on as well. And I also work with them to embed that employer voice in faculty and work really close to make sure that we get that employer voice embedded. So I work really closely with the colleagues you're going to meet today, and without further ado, let's do some introductions so you know who's going to be talking today. I'm going to go round my screen. So Jill, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Great to be here this evening. I'm Jill Shaw. I'm the Employability Lead for the School of Computing and Communications, and I'm really pleased to be here to answer your questions and to share what we've got on offer within the school. Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. And Sam.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam. I'm the Employability Lead in the School of Physical Sciences. So that's physics, astronomy, planetary science, space science. Yeah, I'm looking forward to taking any questions that might come to your minds.
Thanks, Sam. Heather.
Hi everyone, I'm the Employability Lead in Life, Health and Chemical Sciences, and I'm pleased to answer any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Heather. Alec.
Hi everybody, my name's Alec Goodyear. I'm the Employability Lead in Engineering and Innovation School, and looking forward to hearing the questions that come this evening.
Thank you. Francis.
Hey, my name's Frances Jenner. I'm Senior Lecturer in the School of Earth, Environment and Ecosystem Sciences. My research focuses on the chemistry of volcanic rocks and what they can tell us about ore deposits in the Earth. Just taken on this role, but really looking forward to trying to answer some questions from different people.
Thank you. Mark.
Hello everyone, it's great to see so many people here this evening. My name's Mark Jones. I'm what's called the Associate Dean for the Faculty of Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics. So I've got an oversight over the whole provision of our curriculum, and of course employability is a really important part of what's built into our curriculum and the opportunities that it gives to students to develop their employability skills. So I'll be saying a bit more about that in a few minutes, but it's great to see you all, and hope you have a good evening.
Great to have you. Thank you. Last but not least, Marcello.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marcelo Montemurro, and I am the Employability Lead in the School of Mathematics and Statistics, and I'm also looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
That's lovely. So thank you for all of you for joining us this evening. Hopefully lots of questions will come your way. But before we go on to questions, as Mark said, he's going to give us a little bit more of an overview of how employability is embedded. So I'll hand you over to Mark. Thank you.
Okay, my slide's going to appear.
Hopefully, as if by magic. Yeah. And just to let you know, we've also got Katrina and Arabella joining us in the chat box, so they are here to help as well.
My apologies, everything is crawling, of course, once everybody's watching.
While we're waiting, hopefully we've got lots of new students, freshers to the university join us today, but we may have some that have already studied with us. So a little question to ask you in the chat box is, let me get it up. It is, for those that have studied with us, please do share any examples where you've seen employability skills embedded in your modules before. So let's listen to Mark now, and this might bring some of those memories back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, well, this session is the employability skills in STEM. That's the full title of this evening's session. We've been introduced to everybody who's taking part in terms of presenting and answering questions. So let's move on to the first slide then. I don't know if you're... Okay, right. So when we talk about employability skills in STEM, what do we mean? Well, the university's got a kind of overall policy about employability, and that's shown on the left-hand side of this diagram. It really refers to transferable skills that you should be expected as an OU graduate to develop in various ways. And you can see that on this sort of triangular sort of diagram on the left-hand side, we have core skills and competencies, personal attributes and behaviours, external awareness. I'm not going to go through all of these in great detail, but those are the things that are identified as being important transferable skills that throughout a degree programme you'd expect to develop skills in those areas, and they could be transferred into a workspace. And it's important that when we think about employability and making employability part of the curriculum, that we do it in context. You know, that the idea of, let's take the top one there, problem solving. You know, the idea of problem solving in physics is somewhat different to the idea of problem solving in design, for instance. So there are different approaches there. So having the context of what you're talking about is really important. So we have a whole load of transferable skills that we really want to develop and give you the opportunity to develop through your studies. And of course, when you think about employability, you probably also think about the things on the right-hand side of this diagram, the technical skills. So if you're doing technical subjects, you'd expect to do things like writing scientific reports, getting to understand laboratory techniques, field techniques, if you're doing field type sciences. A really important area is laboratory safety, field safety. Knowing about these things is really, really important. But more generally, there are a whole range of industry and sector specific things that you will learn as part of your module, and you'd be expected to, you know, that would be part of the things that you'll study in your OU modules. So how do we get the transferable skills in context and develop technical skills to be employability skills? Well, Katrina, if you click on to the next thing, I think it will should show the question, how do we ensure that employability is relevant to discipline areas? Well, the important thing that we do, oops, sorry, it's gone too far forward. The important thing we do is to have employability leads in each school. And that's why we've got a person in each of the STEM faculty schools to make sure that the employability skills are properly embedded in the employability skills development that goes on. So if you just click forward to the next thing that should show up, there we go. So what the employability leads do is they help ensure that those transferable skills that I mentioned are properly embedded into our curriculum. The next thing, if you just click on to the next, is to talk, and it's really important, they talk to industry and employers about what their needs are, so we get a sense of the real world applications of what employers want. And the final thing to say is that I'm afraid this is zoomed on ahead of where it should have gone, but the final point on this slide was that the other thing that employability leads do is to facilitate student engagement. And that can be through things like special events. So there might be things like special labcasts, that sort of event, or helping to set up things such as programs to do with internships and that type of thing. So that's the kind of work that the employability leads get involved in. You're going to have a chance to ask the employability leads some questions in a moment, but I just want to go on to the next thing, which is the second thing I want to talk about, which is this thing called Future You. So Future You is a personal development planning tool. So that's available to OU students to reflect on what you've done, think about your employability skills, think about the evidence that you've got for those and to plan ahead to decide, how you're going to develop your employability skills. So it's an online resource. It's for you to use. We've got a little video to show. So Katrina, should we try playing this video and see whether it works? We're trying to see whether this will work.
We will come back to it before we jump into questions, because I think Teams is just a bit overwhelmed at the second. So I'll flag it with Regina when the video is loaded and ready to go.
Okay, so let me just go on to the next slide then, just to say what you're likely to see then. So this is just an example from one of the subject areas from physical sciences, actually, and you can see the modules listed down the left-hand side of the diagram of the page here, and what the Future You allows you to do is to reflect and record what you've thought about, what you developed through attempting certain things in your modules, and this provides a really good basis for thinking about what you want to develop and for reflecting back on how you have developed. So that's what it looks like in practice. It's a bit hard to see what it looks like without going to play with it, really, but that's available, and it's available through the study sites for modules. If you go to the next page, we can just see some examples of where you can find that. So if you go to your study sites, you will be able to get to them, to these. So these links are live and they will be available, I understand. So you will be able to go to the study site and go and look, and you look for them. And just, I can't remember now where it is. I've forgotten. Somebody will tell me, I'm sure. But the important thing is it's a tool there that's available for you to use, and it's available for 3 years after you complete your qualification. So as you move from your degree into the world of work, you've still got a record there, and that's really important, because reflecting on the skills you developed, thinking about them, is really important when you want to apply for a job or change your career, and think about what skills you developed as you've been going through your studies. So I think that's all of the slides we want to show. Do we want to try the video, Katrina?
Oh, can I pop in for a second? It's Arabella.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
hello.
Certainly, Arabella. Yeah.
Just wanted to add that to find your Future You, it's under Succeed on your study home site for most of the STEM subjects. If you are open or combined STEM, then it's under Plan. If you can't find it, just get in touch with us and we'll give you a hand.
Thank you very much for that, Arabella. Brilliant. Thanks a lot. Okay, do you want to try the video? Do we think it's going to work to start with, or is it going to make Teams crash? It's about a 2-minute video, but.
Yes, let's move on to some of the questions, and I will ping Georgina a message once I've got it all uploaded and ready to go.
Okay, well, let's hand back and go into the questions part then. Okay.
No problem. Thank you. As you can see, technical issues, we are live. That just proves it. So we're all here live, and we will try and get that video up and running. But thank you, Mark, for that overview. And for those that are freshers and brand new to the Open University, again, welcome. And this is just the snapshot of what you'll hopefully start to see as you work through your modules. So I'm going to kick us off with a question that we've got prepared here. But as I say, please, we want to hear from you today. So do use that Q&A button at the top of your screens. So I'm going to go for the first question, and anybody can answer it. Who wants to go first? What is one thing within the employability area that your school does particularly well with? Who would like to go first? Jill's smiling at me. I'm going to put you on the spot, Jill.
My smile gets me in trouble. Well, yes, it's really lovely to be with you, everyone. Yeah, I think within our school, I'm in computing and communications, and I think because of the fast pace of change within computing, we have to keep on connecting in with industry and making sure that our course material and especially case studies are relevant and up to date. So I think that's one aspect that we do quite well, is that we keep on top of those changes and manage to engage with employers, so that we have, for example, guest lecture series from industry experts. I think that's one that I especially enjoy, because then we get to hear about from the experts that are currently working in industry.
Thanks. Great example there. Anybody want to go next? What have they done in their school that works really well? Yeah, Francis, go for it.
There's probably two examples. One example is where our school really shines. So that's School of Environment, Earth and Ecosystem Sciences. Relates to our live fieldcasts, such as the ones that we have at part of Environmental Sciences, SXF 206. Because fieldwork is a core part of environmental science, a group of academics and technicians have collaborated to bring fieldwork into the homes of students. So in the live fieldcasts, students make suggestions about what they want the academics to do that are in the field, and such as things like soil pH tests. And students are then asked to vote what they want the academics to do. And the teaching initiative has been so successful that the fieldcast team have won an award recently for their efforts from Advanced HE. And the employability skills that the students are learning include problem solving, self-awareness during the participation in live fieldcasts. I think another example would be the Student Buddies program, which is about OU students supporting OU students. So students who have previously studied in a module can volunteer to work on the module forum, and they can provide non-academic support for the different students. So anything to do with navigating the websites to telling you where to find the employability area, for example. And one of the exciting things, one of our students from last year just found out that when they applied for a job and they mentioned the buddy program in their CV, that actually contributed towards them getting the job that they got outside the OU. So that's two examples from our school.
Thanks, Francis. And somebody in the chat who's obviously studies already with us said the field casts are great. So somebody really enjoys them.
I just put a few links to what I was talking about in the chat as well for everyone.
Brilliant. We love links. Thank you very much. And I'm enjoying seeing what everyone's studying. There's such a real mix in there. I don't know if you've had a chance to look in the chat box, but all schools. Right, Heather, you've got your hand up. Let's go for it.
Thank you. One thing I would like to showcase is that in the Life, Health and Chemical Sciences School, we've been running some optional online summer schools. This was our 5th year, and this is a really fantastic opportunity that's available for anyone in the school to come and do some investigations over the summer and get a bit more practice at investigation techniques. You have the opportunity to remotely access some of the equipment. So this year we had students using a scanning electron microscope, which was an amazing opportunity. And we also do lots of online experiments using the OpenSTEM labs, which are a really great tool to use as well. Through the summer, I also help run some online enrichment sessions, and there we have lots of different academics and tutors coming and letting students know about their career backgrounds and the employability skills they've developed. So there is opportunities there to ask people about their careers and the skills they've developed and any questions that you have. So it's really, please do come and make use of the resources that we have to offer you. Thank you.
Thanks, Heather. And yeah, great mention there of the OpenSTEM labs. I'm sure if a link's not already been added to the chat box, one will be for students to explore that. And someone else may talk about that as well. But yeah, wondering if anybody else has anything they want to highlight that they do really well with employability. Sam, go ahead.
Well, we've been so in physical sciences, we've been working for a number of years to try and bring programming skills into our qualifications, so into our BSc, into our MPhils, and that's that reflects the fact that programming was was once something that some physicists and some astronomers did, and it's now an absolutely core skill. And not only is it core in physics, astronomy, planetary science, space science, it's obviously extremely transferable. So if any time that you're handling big data, you don't want to be using spreadsheets, etc. You want to be programming and using a programming language to analyze your data. And so we started bringing that in at stage 2 in our experimental module. And that's it. We've heard about the OpenSTEM labs. That gives you the opportunity to do your own experiments, make your own observations, make your own astronomical observations, and then use the language that we chose was Python, because this is getting extremely popular now in the subject, and it's very accessible. Yes, and the students now use our Python tools to analyze the data that they gather themselves. We've now extended that so that it's part of your journey all the way through our degrees. So you meet it in stage 1 in SM123, and then it's also as you get to the sort of more advanced modules, you'll use it in our astronomy modules and in our physics modules at stage 3, and even stage 4. You'll have lots of opportunities to use that, particularly in our stage 4 project module. So it's supposed to now be something that you keep revisiting, and we have also a tool that you can, as a tool, that's the wrong word, a website which includes, which you can visit when you're not registered on a module, so particularly in the summer, to brush up on your programming skills. And we hope it makes a big difference to your employability at the end of your degree.
That's great. Thanks for that, Sam. And lots of people will be using data throughout their studies, but also going into employment in lots of ways. So great skill and development there. Thank you. Alec, you're next. Put your hand up. Great.
Okay, thank you. Yes, for engineering and innovation, it's we've got a very diverse set of subject areas in our school. But some of our schools play very strongly to the strengths of accreditation and supporting students for professional registration with a professional body. So we try very much to tie the employability skills development in with reaching for professional status, which might be in an environmental sector or an engineering and industry sector that's specific to the subject. So it's a trying to bring everything together into one set of skills for students to develop as they go through their qualification that are applicable in the professional workplace.
That's great. Thanks, Alec. Marcelo, do you want to come in?
Oh, yes, thank you. So in math and stats, I would say that, I mean, the employability development that shines is, I would say, problem solving and numeracy. These are the two ones where you will receive, I mean, the strongest development from the start up to the end. Because, I mean, all the modules, and from the first module you may take, which is at level 1, MU1 through 3, you start dealing with, at that level, with problem solving, analytical thinking, numeracy, and you will carry on doing that up to the end. And of course, that doesn't mean that the other skills are not available. Of course, they are, but I would say that's problem solving, numeracy are the ones where mathematics and statistics shines. And as Sam said, there's also a move now to incorporate more and more programming skills. Students have the opportunity to start using Maxima, which is an analytical environment algebraic system that can also be programmed in MST 124, MST 210. They use R in the modules that focus on statistics, and then at level 3 there's also Python, and there is a project medium term to incorporate Python across all levels, so that there's a unified training in terms of computing on programming regarding programming languages. Yeah, thank you.
That's lovely. Thanks very much. So just an insight, and that is just probably one or two examples from each school. I'm sure they've got a few more, but I'm conscious that the chat is going crazy. There's questions coming in and I want to get to them if that's okay. So I'm going to, there's been 2 questions on this, and that is on age. Now, every single event I do, employer events, this question always comes up. So it's like 2 parts. So I'm gonna, the first one is, I'm 47, am I too old to study something new? And the other age question is it harder to get into STEM fields like physics when you're older? Also, is it worth looking for work as you are studying, or would you need to wait to complete your studies before getting into a physics related job? So anyone feel they want to, Francis, go for it.
I just wanted to tackle the one to do with being a bit older and going into a different career. So I was personally inspired at a young age to be part of the Open University because my mum did a degree in psychology while I was still at school. And she went from finishing school at 16 with no qualifications and working in an old people's home to then getting a first in a psychology degree. And then she went on to work for the council in child support. And it really struck me when I was a kid just how inspiring it was being part of the OU. We were watching videos with her and her teaching, learning from her teaching material. And she did it and managed to do that with 3 kids while working full time. So I think, no, it's never too late to get in and do something different. So if you want to change your career, just go for it.
Thank you, Francis. Thanks for sharing that inspirational story. I'm sure that's one of many, and I'm sure there's lots of different ages on the call today, and it's never too late. Sam, do you want to come in, especially on that physics point?
Yeah, no, so I mean, yeah, I'd absolutely second that. I mean, we've got, so actually in my lab, we've got a PhD student starting in October who's in their 40s and, you know, is looking forward to restarting their career in chemical physics research, having done quite different things early in her life. So yeah, it's absolutely not too late. The other question relating that I think from the person who was asking about physics was whether or not it's a good idea or whether or not it's possible to try to do some physics related work or do some kind of placement or something like that during their studies. And I think that's an absolutely great idea. I mean, if you know that we do advertise and promote lots of opportunities to do placements over the course of your degree. So the virtual placement program is obviously something to keep an eye on. And we also have specific placements, for example, sometimes opportunities to contribute towards physics teaching at the OU, the development of some new tools that we want to add to our modules. And yeah, OU students, OU undergraduate students have contributed to those, have taken those placements, and they've been really beneficial. So I think if you, yeah, it's always, if you can show that you've, you know, if you can get some experience of some work during your degree, you know, particularly when you're changing direction, that is, you know, obviously a really valuable thing to do. It's great. It looks really impressive to potential employers, and it also gives you, of course, a great taste of what you're hopefully moving into. So absolutely, I think, you know, if you can find placement opportunities, if you can find opportunities to do some work during your degree, then absolutely go for it.
That's great, thanks, Sam. And just before I move to you, Marcelo, to add to that, my colleague's probably putting in the link to, I think she has, to the internships program that Sam mentioned there, Opportunity Hub, again, as I mentioned at the beginning, for looking for opportunities. And we've just updated our work experience page, so she'll probably add that in. This time of year, early careers programs are opening, so graduate schemes, placements, internships, so be sure to look out for those. But if you aren't able to commit to such a longer period, there are virtual experiences, such as the Forage, are really great at adding some of those. And if you're studying biology, LifeArc do their own virtual online program as well, all free. So take a look at those. Marcelo, do you want to come in, and then we'll go to the next question, because we've got loads to get through now, which is great.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to add a little bit about the question regarding the age. So my personal experience, I can say something about that. So I got my PhD at 38 in physics, and I had no problems at all to insert myself into a kind of career path. So I did a postdoc after that, and then got positions in universities in Italy, and then in the UK, where I was at the University of Manchester for 15 years. And then now I'm here at the OU. So I can say, yes, of course, you can make it even if you graduate a bit later than other people.
That's lovely. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, the next question, Jill, this is probably for you. Do you think there'll be many opportunities for part-time work in Northern Ireland near Belfast for computing? There doesn't seem a lot at the moment.
Yeah, so I think we've as you've mentioned, Georgina, we've got the Opportunity Hub, and we can post a link again for it. So that's that'll include part-time work and internships and lots of opportunities there. And we have a dedicated careers and employability team in the Belfast office. So there's lots of work being done to connect in industry and large organisations with students. So if there's a particular area of computing that you're interested in, I think there's a link there about the consultancy. You can book a consultancy session with our careers and employability, and that'll be a useful one then to link you in with our local experts, and they have the connections. So definitely keep an eye on the Opportunity Hub in the first instance, and also you can take the opportunity yourself and get in touch with companies. I did this myself long ago when I was studying a postgraduate, and I had changed. My undergraduate degree was psychology and ethnomusicology, and then I changed to a master's in computing, and I had so little experience of this industry, and I managed to get a placement with a company, and it totally changed my opportunities, and that was through just contacting lots and lots of people. So that's another option, I would say, which needs a little bit more legwork, but it can bring opportunities too. So first instance, contact our Belfast office, and then also check Opportunity Hub.
Thanks, Jill. And we have just updated a page on LMI and looking for labour market information and looking in different areas. So Arabella might pop that link in for you as well. So moving on to my next question, Marcelo, back to you. My understanding is that mathematics department is pioneering completely remote exams starting next year. Will this have an impact on external awareness of the qualifications offered, i.e. how will this affect other people's perception of OU qualifications?
That's being piloted now, and probably that will have an impact. We're not so sure exactly how much. I'm not really on top of all those details, but this is going to bring some changes that we are all aware. But I'm not sure how it will impact external awareness.
No problem. I think Jill might be able to help you out on this one. Yeah. She's popped her hand up, and Alex. Yeah. So your colleagues are here for you.
Yeah, I was just going to add a little bit of bit more context that I am aware of, that the trial that's being conducted is to make sure that we have compliance with certification for some accountancy programs, and so that it will be quality assured, and that it will be kind of at an industry standard. So I can understand that you might have concerns that other perceptions may be that this wouldn't be as rigorous, but it will be proctored exams likely. So that means it'll be checked to ensure that you're a real person and that you're answering yourself. So there'll be lots of kind of quality control over that, and it will provide then opportunity for you to do on the online exams, and that means that all our students can sit exams. In the past, when they were in person, that meant that there was often quite limited access. People didn't have opportunity to travel and those kind of issues. So I think that it's overall it'll end up being quite a positive opportunity, I think.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jill. Alex, did you want to come in, or are you happy for them?
Very similar to Jill. Yeah, just to emphasise that everything we do in assessment is all quality assessed. We work very closely with sets of external examiners, whatever format our assessment takes in our modules and qualifications. I think the more important thing is actually the skills that are attained at the end, the learning outcomes and the skills that students demonstrate through whatever form of assessment they take. So it's that power of that, carrying that forward. I think that's the really key thing.
That's great. Thank you. Next question, Francis. I think this one's for you. Could you expand on the SIWEAM and IES accreditation in Q52, the environment management, and its impact on future employability in regards to becoming accredited in the future? Big question. And you're on mute if you want to unmute yourself.
Hey, sorry about that. I'm probably not the best person to ask that one because I've only been part of this role for a few months. So I think that's probably better directed to someone's tutor when they start a different course.
No problem. So yes, you can still ask questions to your tutors after this and they will be able to answer that. No problem. So we'll move on to another question. We've got so this one is another environmental one. Sorry, Francis, to put you on the spot. It might, again, this might be for tutors. Is there a way to use your local environment and resource provided via Open University to create a more diverse but directed study? So, for example, I hope to use local rivers and woodland as well as private and own land to help me with certain things I hope to focus within my studies. Oh, you're on mute again.
If that's to do with volunteering opportunities to try and get some extra experience, then there are quite a lot of citizen science programs that you can get involved with through the School of Earth, Environment and Ecosystems. So there's the Treezilla project that's used in some of the modules where people who aren't scientists at a university, for example, can get involved in different programs, for example, to help map and measure trees and monitor them across the UK. We've also got volunteering opportunities with the Floodplain Meadows Partnership, which was formed in 2006 with the mission to address an urgent need to promote and conserve British floodplain meadows. And their website lists a range of opportunities for volunteers to get involved and gain employability experience that way in their local community. I highly recommend it. I do at least 1 day's volunteer work each week. So at the moment, I'm doing work for the Green Sands Trust, and being part of Environment, Earth and Ecosystems, you probably think that's to do with wildlife, but actually I'm lead the volunteers at a bike park there where we try to help encourage people with learning disabilities to get involved in sport. So each of those experiences just help enrich your CV. So yeah, if that's the right answer to the question, then yes, it's really good to get involved.
Well, I think that was a brilliant answer, whether that was the question or not. So it's really handy for sharing that. And Mark, do you want to come in on that?
Yeah, I sort of link to this, and it's more it's wider than environment, but a lot of our degrees have capstone modules where people can do their own piece of project work, and there's certainly an environment strand to that, and that in lots of strands of what we do, the students actually design their own project to do. So that's an area where, having learnt everything through the taught modules, you get to apply the skills and do some work. And I think in the environment area, there's certainly field work as a sort of an option there that people can do. I think that's right, Francis, isn't it? That people can do those kind of projects. So just highlight that as being, a built-in part of a qualification, is that, you get to the capstone and you will, put your skills into practice with a bit of real science.
That's brilliant, thank you. And I don't know if they have been added, but feel free, Employability Leads, to add your subject site links in with any employability information, because I know, Francis, there is a page on there that you've worked with Claire on gaining work experience in the environment sector. So yeah, any of you want to add any links, please do. Right, I'm coming over now to Sam, I think, here. So this person's doing their first course at the Open University, so welcome. They're doing astronomy and was wondering how will this course do for their job chances, and just a bit curious of how the course will go, really. So yeah, how the course is going to go, and yeah, and job chances in astronomy.
Right. Well, so the space sector is very much a growing area for employability, for employment. So studying astronomy, or the the related subjects, the planetary science and space science that we also offer, do it is there are real vocational opportunities there. It's not purely something that that often that leads into an academic career or sort of a pure research career. And we make a big effort to promote that, and we have a lot of space science, a lot of space technology here at the OU from a research point of view, and we do everything we can to embed that in our degrees. So we have, for example, if you're doing the MPhys, the Master of Physics, and you're specializing in astrophysics with space science, there are 2 routes through our MPhys. Then you will, in your 4th year, you'll do a large 60 credit module, which is space science, which has a large space technology and missions aspect to it. So you'll learn a lot of a lot about if you like the space sector and skills that the space sector needs, and actually Mark, who's with us, was actually I guess the chair of production for that module, so he knows it particularly well. Yes, but it's there are huge opportunities in astronomy, and it's there's lots I could say about what the degree will involve, but perhaps I won't go into massive details. I think it's probably best to point you again to the study site for physics, astronomy, and planetary science, and there are lots of details on the curriculum in there, where you can find out some more about the specific modules and the specific employability activities that we embed in those modules.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Sam. And another good site just to mention is Prospects. Is a great site if you're looking to explore some careers with your chosen subject. So a question here, it's linked to environmental science, but I think it can be opened up to all of you. Do you need to finish a degree in environmental science before you go into a specific environmental field, or can you go into the workforce while studying? But I think that can refer to any degree. Who would like to answer that and give any examples of where people have maybe started working before the end of their studies? Jill.
Yes, so in computing, it's really common that we have lots of people working in industry without professional certification or qualifications, and there's lots of opportunities to do that. Within computing, especially if you're focusing on programming, there's lots and lots of opportunities to just develop those skills yourself personally, and then be working within industries. We have a lot of students. I've been a part-time tutor as well, and so I see lots of students coming through who are working in industry. Quite often we have people who are working in really challenging jobs, particularly in cybersecurity. There's lots of students who are coming through working in cybersecurity already, and have almost stepped into it because their organisation needed a cybersecurity services, and they didn't have anyone, so that person who was a programmer stepped into that role and is then now working up towards their accreditation and qualifications. So it's really, really common, I think, across lots of industries. And the lovely thing about the Open University is because you can study part-time, you can get those qualifications while you're working, so you can step it up. Myself, I did a postgraduate in technology management when my children were all a bit smaller. They're all big grown-up students now, but when they were smaller, I was working in industry as a programmer, and really wanted to shift into project management, and I was able to do that postgraduate study alongside all the dramas of the little small children and part-time jobs. But yeah, so I think as well, a lot of employers are really keen to see people who have both the industry experience and the qualifications too. So I think it's a win-win. Thank you.
Yeah, does anyone want to add to that? No, I would just add that as my role is engaging with these employers, they are keen to hear from you even before you finish your studies, because you still have a lot to bring, whether that's previous work experience, whether it's relevant or not. Sometimes just learning and putting into practice what you're learning is really useful for an organisation, and they really benefit from it. So don't feel that you have to wait till the end of your degree. It might be you need it to get onto a graduate scheme because they may need a classification, but some of those direct entry roles or part-time opportunities or volunteering, you can do it straight away. Let's have a look. So we have got another question here on so we've got one on volunteering. So how is volunteering regarded from an employer's point of view? So looking into environmental science, we've got a lot of environmental science on. Most of them request experience, but it's hard to get experience without getting the opportunity. So it's the catch-22. So yeah, I know, Francis, you've already talked a bit about volunteering. Does anybody else want to cover volunteering in some of their other areas on how students may get it, or whether they know any memberships or social groups? Everyone on the spot, Jill.
I was just going to add about joining professional networks. I think that's a really good way of getting connected in with industry, and then using those connections to then develop some opportunities. And I think calling it placement rather than volunteering can kind of frame it as a bit more official, and be regarded then by industry as a bit more kind of relevant. I think volunteering, the term sometimes can be used to be something that's like less industry specific, and that's maybe just a bit of nuance there. But I think then if you can engage with professional bodies, like the Association for Project Management is one that I've been involved with, and I started that as a volunteer, just to get connections and experience, and it's developed into really a really excellent set of networks for me for professional work on myself. And I know that within computing there's lots like the BCS. There's a really nice one where you can join as a student member, and then that develops your opportunities and connections. So that's maybe another way to look at it.
That's great, thank you. And also to mention the societies as well. So OUSTEM, if you've not had a look at that, so there's some different ones in that. I know of the cybersecurity one. I've seen quite a few into the cybersecurity is a thriving. They have over 1,000 members, and they host their own speakers and do their own competitions, and do look out. We work with BAE Systems to host a Capture the Flag event, a 2-day cybersecurity challenge in February, so watch your space for that one. But yeah, societies and memberships are great, and for volunteering. So I'm going to go on to another question. Oh, sorry, go on, Francis, go for it.
I just wanted to make a point that with the placements and volunteering, even if you can't get this specific role that you really want, like with any of the skills that you learn at the OU, there's transferable skills that any placement will probably give you. So if you can't find the specific location that you want to work at, try instead maybe to look at the skills that you want to learn, and that will help to broaden your search a little bit.
Great, thank you. So moving on to another question. It's linked to cybersecurity, but I think this could be to any. So this person's about to start studying cybersecurity part-time. They have a young son and a part-time job. I'm sure many on the call will resonate with this. How much of the course relies on peer collaboration? This is a concern for me, as I may struggle to be able to communicate during peak times. They may be studying in unsociable hours. Again, I think that will resonate with quite a lot. So yeah, a bit of an insight into how students may need to collaborate on some of these modules and courses that you represent, and how that will affect them, and maybe how they can develop those skills either through the course or out of it.
Yeah, I could start with that in terms of the specifics on the cybersecurity. We have lots of opportunities for collaboration and peer work, but they're pretty much all organised to be asynchronous. So that means you can do them at your own time, and then there's a forum, for example, where other students can see your messages. So we don't need everyone to be online at the same time. So working on sociable hours or whenever it suits you will work perfectly fine. And because most of our students are studying part-time, we understand that everybody has got different demands on their time. So for that specific qualification, don't worry at all. You'll be fine. You'll get through that. And I would say overall, it's really important to remember that because the Open University has been set up and is organised for students studying at a distance, that we are really aware of the demands on everyone's time. So whatever you're studying, you'll have opportunities to engage with others. There'll be live tutorials where you can attend, but they'll be recorded, and then you'll have the forums where you can connect in with your tutor or your tutor group and other students.
Thanks, Jill. Did anyone want to add anything on that point from Alec? Yeah, go for it.
Thanks. Yeah, just to add that I think the need for asynchronous peer working and team working is just growing and growing as we become more global, and workplace roles can often have a more global needing to communicate across time zones, and working in teams are often dispersed and similar to where you study, not available at the same time necessarily. So I think both synchronous and asynchronous are both important going forward, and more so after the COVID pandemic as well. I think that's changed the whole work pattern scenario.
Thanks, Alec. And Mark, do you want to come in?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's already been said, but I just reinforce what Jill said about, the requirement to work with other people is, not usually at the same time. There are a small number of exceptions to that, but on the whole, we design stuff for asynchronous working, as Alec has just explained, and it's become, a really important skill that people need to develop. So, that it's not just a particular school that has this approach across the whole faculty. We want to make sure that people aren't excluded from doing group work if they want to, by having to go to things at set times. So nearly everything that we do is organised asynchronously, or you can contribute asynchronously. So there's a very small number of things where you don't do that, but they're very well flagged, and you'd know about those in advance.
Thank you all, and hopefully that's been really reassuring, and hopefully makes you less concerned for your study journey ahead. Right, I just want to bring a question kind of back to the beginning when Mark mentioned Future You, and apologies we've not been able to get that video up, but hopefully we might be able to share that at a later date, and bring the slides and share it with the recording. But thinking of Future You, when should students start engaging with that? And I know that some of you are still working on Future You and mapping modules and pulling out all those employability skills. So it's something that will kind of develop throughout. So if you do come onto your subject site and think, oh, where is that Future You? It'll be coming. So bear with us. But yeah, when do students start engaging with it? Who wants to answer that? Heather, go for it.
In some of our first year modules, Future You is embedded there already. So when you start SDK 100, for example, in week 1 or week 0, you're taken off to have a look at Future You. So it's there to help you develop your reflection on what you want to do with your career or voluntary work and the skills you develop. So it's good to pop back into that maybe every year to see how you're developing and the skills you've developed. It might be that you've changed your mind and you want to do something else, and that's perfectly fine. But you'll be able to get examples of how you've developed the skills and the modules you've worked through, and that's going to be really invaluable for your applications and interviews and communicating with other people and being able to have the terminology to describe the skills you've developed is really useful to have. So I'd say, use it quite frequently through your degrees.
Thank you. That's a great answer, and I think hopefully encourage people. I know it's overwhelming, especially if you are brand new to the Open University. You're going to be getting lots of information, but if you are especially studying for career purpose, to change career, progress career, or just start one, these employability skills when you are applying for jobs will be really beneficial. And if you can pull it out of the study and courses that you are learning and evidence that to employers, it's just going to really help you, so it's not too overwhelming at the end. So yeah, do it as you're going along. Right, we are very quickly running out of time, and I know there has been lots of questions that we've been unable to answer, but hopefully there'll be lots of questions we have answered, we've reassured you. We do have a full team of careers and employability services to support you, whether you feel you're ready for a consultation or whether you just want to look at some resources or go to an event, please do. But I want to ask and go back to every employability lead, for your either one thing that you feel you've not shared about your work with employability in your school, or any top tips for students studying and starting in your school, or anything you would like to highlight. And who am I going to put on the spot first? Alec, I'm going to go to you first this time.
Okay. I think Heather described it very well with the use of future you. Actually, the top tip is going to enjoy what you're studying and keep reaching out, keep exploring, keep looking at places like Future You, dip in, dip out, look at opportunities for volunteering, etc. Professional bodies, if they're relevant to your subjects, look out to them for becoming a student member maybe, and there's some fantastic networks there for developing employability and developing openings. So really enjoy what you're studying, I think, is the overall message from me.
Love that. Right, I'm going to go across my screen. So Francis, you're next.
I just wanted to highlight one of the questions in the chat that was to do with somebody was asking about disabilities and whether that would stop someone having a career in environmental science while they're also caring for someone at home, which, I mean, hats off to you for doing all those things and later in your courses, it's brilliant. But I just want to highlight that any career can be made so that it can be adapted, and so that you end up with a diverse workforce. And so I wouldn't say that there's any limitations for someone, if they really want a career in something, for just going for it. So within any of our disciplines that we're talking and representing today, there's always something that somebody can do that's really going to be valuable, so that they can contribute.
Absolutely. Thanks, Francis, for highlighting that. And again, we've got lots of resources and support on that area. So please do visit our website for that. Marcelo, to you, please.
Thank you. Well, as a hint, I would just say, I mean, repeat a bit what was already said. So just use the resources that you will find that are plenty, and they all work synergistically. So Future You, with the actual module contents, plus all the information that there is and the advice from employers. In particular, that's something that we are now bringing into Math and Stats, something that was not present before, and is a big step for Math and Stats to start having a closer relationship with employers, and that will reinforce the employability development as well. So that is in the form of employee advice that it will be incorporated into the study site, direct employee advice, with hints about what skills are required for these different careers, etc. And you will be able to match that with the actual skills you are developing in your curriculum. And there are further plans that will have a further impact on the curriculum Math and Stats, which is bringing an advisory board of employers that will also advise about details of our curriculum and how to shape it more accordingly for the demands of the working market, of the work market as well. So that's all for me.
Thanks, Marcelo. And yes, we've been working on those employee videos together. So watch this space on the subject site for those employee videos for maths. We've already got them on the site for computing, and they're coming soon for environment. So more to come. Heather, over to you, please.
I just wanted to advertise the optional in-person lab skills that we do for chemistry and health and biology students. So if you're interested in getting practical hands-on lab work, that is possible. Another initiative I do is online journal clubs on the Science Study site, so you have the ability to come and present for 5 minutes on an article of your choice, which is really good at developing your communication skills, which is really important for employability. So yes, come and find me on the Science Study site if you want to do that. Thank you.
Thanks, Heather. Sam?
I guess yeah, my tips would be, echoing obviously what everyone else has said. Do look out for all the nice extras that we advertise, and opportunities that we advertise. Reach out to the Careers and Employability Service. They're great, and don't hesitate to get in touch with us, or with any questions you've got about employability, or indeed anything else. We're there on the forums, and we'd love to hear from you. But I suppose the other thing I wanted to say was that studying at the OU. Loads of you are doing so part-time. Loads of you have got jobs and various responsibilities, and I know sometimes highlighting extra things as well as studying is sometimes a lot to ask. We're all super busy, so the great thing is you're all studying STEM, or you're interested in studying STEM, and that has got you're learning so many employability skills throughout your regular study. So if there's things that you can't do, if you don't have time to take on placements, don't feel bad. You're doing great stuff. And I mean, physics and astronomy and planetary science, we try to, and I know throughout the OU and many other subjects, we try to, if you like, massively teach through problem solving. It's by solving problems that you learn a lot of the physics or the astronomy or the planetary science. So you're getting good at problem solving, and that's what employers want, or that's what loads of employers want. So yeah, you're on a good track.
Thanks, Sam. Really reassuring words there. And Jill, anything from your schooling?
Yeah, just to finish off, I would say make use of Future You when you can. We've done some research recently that shows that students who get more engaged and become more aware of their professional skills, those employability skills, do better about talking about them with their employers and then making use of them in industry. So it's worth thinking about right from the start. Look out for professional bodies, look out for industry experts on LinkedIn. That's a great way to hear from what's going on, especially in local networks, local areas to you. And remember to stay in touch with your tutor. If you get stuck, or if you have questions, get in touch with your tutor and they'll find out the answer if they don't know the answer. So overall, I would say just stay curious and enjoy your studies.
Thank you. And Mark, just put you on the spot. Is there anything you wanted to add to round it up?
No, I couldn't really top what Jill just said there about stay curious and enjoy your studies. Make the most of the opportunities that we give you. It's it's a fantastic journey that you're on. So our job is to help you get the most out of your studies. So let's hope that you enjoy the journey, and that we can help you to get where you want to go.
That's brilliant. Thank you. And hopefully this has reassured you that we're here to support your studies. We are here to support your career journey. Your employability skills will be developed, and it's just giving you an insight. I've just shared a link. We worked as a whole team on a big event back in February this year called Inclusive Futures, and it's all been recorded, and there's employer panels for all of the different schools. So please do go have a look at that and take some time to listen to what employers are saying. So you've heard it from us as staff at the OU, but hear what employers have to say. And as I mentioned, we are always trying to work with employers to get opportunities, jobs, but events. And our next big event will be in November. It's called Careers Fest. We will have multiple events of skills workshops, employer showcases. So keep your eye out on opportunity. We will be launching that over the next few weeks. But time's gone. Sorry we've overran. I really appreciate that you took your time out of your evening, and whatever that took you away from. We do appreciate it. For those that have just joined us at the Open University, welcome. Enjoy your studies. Hopefully it's not too overwhelming. Those who have already been studying with us, keep going. It can get tough, but we know you're doing a great job and we're all here to support you. So it's been great to have you join us tonight. I'm sure this event might happen again in the future because we've had so many questions. But thank you to all the panelists for giving up your time tonight as well. It's great to work with a faculty who has so much support and wants to help the students with their employability journey. So thank you for that, and have a lovely evening, everybody. Take care. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. OU staff, have a good night. I'll send an email out tomorrow with attendee numbers and all of the good stuff. Thank you, everyone. Have a fabulous night.
Night, Katrina.